I got to adjust every day to somebody else. And I'm used to just Simms. And it's kind of good. It's kind of nice. Frankly, don't tell him. Nobody tell him. It's kind of nice to not have to deal with the big meathead. I don't know what that's from.
Well, screw you. Well, you don't even know. That means you've been talking a lot of crap by me. You don't even know where it's from. You're just talking shit all the time.
Here's the thing, though. I don't like talking about people behind their backs. I hate that.
Right.
I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
I feel guilty. It's 12 years of Catholic school. But with you, like, my position is, if I'll say it to your face, I can say it behind your back.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you there's nothing I've ever said behind your back that I haven't said to your face.
I agree. I would agree with that sentiment, and it's ditto from over here as well. So I understand that, and that's why I don't ever take that stuff personal. But shots fired. Shots fired from asshole number one named Mike Florio in West Virginia today. Thank you.
That was actually from PFT Live yesterday with Michael Hawley, and I really continue to have this problem where I can't remember who I said what to because I can't remember what day of the show it was. So it just confuses the hell out of me because it's somebody different every single day.
Hey, it's 8 more weeks, baby, and then I'll be back with you, baby doll.
You assume that. Again, I've tried to get you accustomed to the notion that once I adjust my brain to the new reality, I'm not going to want to switch back.
Hey, I'm totally cool. If you don't want me to switch back and you want to give me an extra few days off with the same pay rate, all that, I'm totally fine. That's fine then there, slugger.
Ain't my money. It is beneficial in one respect, though.
Yeah.
I do enjoy this Picks podcast more because I haven't dealt with you for 2 hours already this morning.
Right.
It's not hour 3 of shit we've already talked about. We can go in fresh, and we haven't done the show since Monday, so it is a nice way to kind of balance out the amount of time we're exposed to each other. By the way, this is the Chris Simms Unbuttoned PFTPM Picks podcast delivered by Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
Pizza.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So let's get to it. I was trying to think if there was anything else I was going to tell you, but there probably isn't. I'll think of it at some point.
Don't tell me anything about this, okay? I don't want to know about this.
I'm kicking your ass,
yeah, that's what
and
you
I'm
wanted to tell me?
still in the dark. Somebody texted me last week, why do they have that messed up picture of you? It's like, look, that is from when I was standing in the wrong spot when they cut to me pre-game of the Friday night Week 1 contest between the Packers and the Eagles. So it's not a punishment, although you did beat me straight up last week. I'm kicking your ass against the spread. That's embarrassing. 4 games. And that's the category I never care about. Maybe I should care about it now. I'm almost as good against the spread as I am straight up.
I tried to thread the needle too much last week. Last week, I think with some of the games, I wanted to pick some upsets, right? And I chickened out, and instead I had covers and things like that. It was a bad week. I'm disappointed with it. That was the one thing I took away from the week that I was annoyed with. I sat on the couch last Wednesday night going over the games and writing my little few notes that I always write, and I went, and I was just like, man, I don't think I picked enough upsets. You know, we see early in the year, as we've talked about, teams are figuring out. Teams are figuring themselves out. They're getting people back healthy that weren't around for training camp. And, man, there were some crazy games last week, and my ass paid for it, that's for sure.
Well, and the problem is when you start picking upsets, you got to pick the right upset.
Definitely, or it snowballs out of control.
Yeah, because then you get the upsets that you did pick wrong.
Right.
You get the upsets you didn't pick wrong, and your numbers
now
end up being
5 and 11. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you.
Well, let's do better this week. Let's see if we can do better, and the rest of you can do better as well if you would like. Every week this season, you can play along with us. DraftKings has set up the free $1,000 Florio and Simms Pick 'em Pool. Pick every game against the spread for a chance at a $1,000 prize pool every single week.
Download the DraftKings app, click on the Pools tab, and enter the Florio and Simms free $1,000 Pick 'em Pool to make your picks.
Just like us, you must enter all of your picks before kickoff of the first game of the week on Thursday night. Doesn't matter if you don't know the injury information. Doesn't matter if a team is hiding a Christian McCaffrey injury. You've got to make your picks before the game begins tonight. And tonight, Chris will be there at MetLife Stadium as the Cowboys take on the Giants. The Cowboys have beaten the Giants, 12 out of 13, 13 out of 14, 14 out of 15, umpteen out of umpteen -1. Whatever it is, the Cowboys are favored to win by 6. The big effer is calling the game for Westwood 1. Yep. Chris will be in the stands wearing his Daniel Jones jersey, I assume, or Malik Neighbors.
Or how about
you said you were
going
to get a Malik Neighbors jersey.
I am.
I said just take one of Phil's jerseys and peel off a 1, and you're good to go.
I gotta do something. I don't have anything like right now. We have a Phil Simms jersey at the house. My son's gonna wear it, so I gotta figure out what I am gonna do. It might be one of those where I buy something at the game and then just throw it on. Oddly enough, I don't have a lot of Giants jerseys, so I got to kind of look through that and figure it out. But I do want a Malik Neighbors jersey. That's coming soon, no doubt about it. Like, hey, first off, I mean, I'm a little surprised by the 6-point spread, okay? I understand the Cowboys are better, but, like, wow, just, at home Thursday night, all the problems we've showed with the Cowboys over the last few weeks, man, they can't stop the run. The Giants' offensive line is formidable this year. It's formidable. It's not like it's like, oh my gosh, Daniel Jones just has to duck it and chuck it every throw. They can run the ball a little bit. They protect okay, even though it's not great, but it's okay. Okay, so that aspect, and then I go, wait, Dallas can't stop the run, so they got to worry about that. And Dallas and after that, when teams pile in the box, they want to play man-to-man, and Dallas can't play man-to-man all that well either. Trayvon Diggs is the only guy they got, and I don't even think he's 100% Trayvon Diggs there yet. With Deron Bland out on the other side, the rookie over there struggles. So that's something you look at, and I go, wait, I think the Giants can move the ball on them a little bit. The Cowboys offense, and we know that Dak Prescott's damn good, and he could throw the ball, and they're certainly going to try to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb tonight. I know that. But I don't think they run the ball all that well either. Okay, I'm going with the upset here. Thursday night, crazy things happen. I'm taking the Giants. I'm going to be there. I'm going hard. So I guess I'm emotionally in this. But I've been telling people all week, like, it's not crazy to think the Giants can win this football game. And I'm just going to go flat out, pull out the upset. 20-17, Giants at home on a Thursday night.
I thought about doing it just because of that part of me that loves chaos. And if the Cowboys lose this and fall to 1-3, they've got a Sunday night game next up in Pittsburgh. Good luck with that. And then they've got home game against the Lions where Honolulu Blue is going to take over AT&T Stadium, and then a bye week. They could be 1-5 free falling into their bye week, which could be doom for Mike McCarthy. But at the end of the day, I feel like if the Cowboys are going to win any of the next 3 games, it's this one. They're going on the road on a short week for the first time ever, and their PR staff felt compelled to point that out in order to build in the excuse. Everybody else has done it at least 6 times. They've never done it. Well, suck it up and do it because everybody else has had to do it 6 times.
Yeah.
I just feel like this is one of those where if they can get out of the gates and build
a little momentum.
I know a 2-score lead is a big deal in any game, but it's a bigger deal for the Cowboys. Once they're up 2 scores, it's over. Once they're down 2 scores, it's over.
Yeah.
Now, I see it here, and I'm going to split the baby. I see the Cowboys getting up by multiple scores and then maybe slipping the foot off the gas pedal a little bit, and Malik Neighbors is going to be hard to handle, and he's been great. 28-23.
Okay.
I'm trying to have this one both ways. So I'm with you on the Giants covering the spread, but I still think the Cowboys find a way to win just because the stakes are way too high for Mike McCarthy and company. And there's a chance they crumble under this pressure. There's a chance.
Hey.
I won't be surprised if you're right. And again, the part of me that loves chaos would actually prefer to see the Giants win the game because then chaos arrives in a big way in Dallas. But I think the Cowboys pull it off.
Yeah, listen, I do think Dallas is a little bit better. It's a big game for the Giants too. I mean, they should be sitting here 2-1. They're 1-2. It is the Cowboys. We'll see. I do worry about that Mike Zimmer defense, like I told you too. I feel like the league, from what I've seen in the first 3 weeks, knows exactly what he's going to do and how he's going to play it. If he doesn't change it up a little bit tonight, Brian Daboll and company, even the Giants, I think, can tear them up a little bit.
My good friend Mike Zimmer. That's how he's officially
You're a good
referred
friend,
to.
right?
in these parts.
Yeah.
And what a shock. What a shock. I remember when they got their asses kicked by the Eagles in the NFC Championship, one of his comments was, well, I guess I've realized when you get to this point in the season, you better be changing up your looks. No shit, Sherlock. They're figuring out what you do. You better come to the table with something different, unless you got a bunch of badasses that it doesn't matter if they know what you're going to do, and the Cowboys don't have a bunch of badasses, especially up the middle. All right, let's get to Sunday. Saints-Falcons, huge game in the NFC South. Huge game. The Saints had scored 91 points the first two. They were held to 12 by the Eagles. They go to Atlanta, where the Falcons are 1-2 and feeling desperate. They could have beaten the Chiefs, should have beaten the Chiefs. They're 2.5-point favorites at home against the Saints. No free hot dogs this weekend. Sorry, Falcons fans. We have not picked the Falcons yet, either straight up or against the spread so far this year. Will you be picking them against the Saints?
You know, I am going to pick them. I'm going to take them at home here. This is a toss-up football game. It certainly won't be a best bet for me. All right, but I do think the Atlanta defense is a pain in the butt. We've seen them be able to slow down the run to a degree. I mean, we saw their defense, it's well coached. I don't think that some of the play action pass, down the field stuff is going to be quite as open against this football team. They don't play man-to-man. They're a deep dropping zone football team. Okay? The Saints, the Derek Carr groin injury worries me a little bit there. And I think the fact of Atlanta's staring down the barrel of a tough Sunday night game and staring down the barrel of being 1-3 here, I just think they're going to be a little bit more of a desperate football team here. And they've gotten better each week. And Kirk Cousins does look better. I like them. I'm going to take them at home here in this one, 23-20.
Yeah, this is a huge one. If they blow it, what happened last Monday night against the Eagles is just forgotten. It's funny how teams will sink their teeth into an early season win. Like, this transforms everything. This sets us on a new trajectory. If you lose the next two games after that, it doesn't do shit for you, frankly. And they should have beaten the Chiefs. They've got to recover from the Sunday night loss the same way the Eagles had to recover from the Monday night loss, and the Eagles recovered and beat the Saints. The Falcons need to do that too and take out the Saints, and I think they will. You're right. Carr's got the injury. I think that's been kind of overlooked by people. That could affect him. The offense has to be feeling less confident, and this is the thing I said after they scored the 91 points the first 2 weeks. What will happen when adversity comes? And I think the adversity gets even more pronounced this week in Atlanta. I got 24-20, so we're almost right on the money. Same score.
Yeah,
we both have the Falcons covering the 2.5-point spread. And, but I feel like, things can get out of whack early in the season. I think the Saints being 2-0 was a little out of whack. And now this is a chance for, the Falcons to tighten it up and make for an interesting race in the NFC South.
I hope so. This is one I really waffled with, kind of going back and forth throughout the last few days when I was looking at the schedule and going through it. I do worry about Atlanta maybe being overpowered on the front line to a degree, and if that happens, then having to play some coverages they don't want to, and then it's Rashid Shaheed bombs and all of that. But I think Atlanta's got enough up front to slow down that run attack and not compromise themselves in the back end.
Bengals are 0-3, and yet they're 4.5-point favorites on the road at Carolina. The Panthers upended the Raiders last week, and I said to Tony Dungy earlier today on PFT Live, it's actually good for the Bengals that the Raiders were the ones to step on a rake with the Panthers. It's good that they benched Bryce Young for Andy Dalton when they did, because otherwise the Bengals would be walking into this trap. They know what they're up against. They know what they're facing, and they know the stakes. They cannot fall to 0-4. Will they?
No, I hope not. I mean, I'm picking the Bengals, all right? I don't feel necessarily confident about it. The thing I like is the Bengals offense looked good the other night, right? I've heard some people on TV like, I'm sick of the Joe Burrow. I want to be like, they outgained Washington by over 100 yards. He made every throw he was supposed to make. Was it perfect? No. But damn, the offense isn't what you're worried about. It's the defense. The defense it's struggling big time. And their defensive tackles, we hit on this last week, is an issue. So that's what scares you. There are some big O linemen there in Carolina. In fact, I saw this yesterday. Carolina's the best pass protecting team in all of football when it comes down to it. The Bengals can't really rush the passer. When they just rush 4, they can't get there. Jaden Daniels could have baked a cake and had a pina colada and then went back to baking the cake the other night on some of the throws. So that worries me, right? But I am going to take the Bengals because I think they have more talent and they have Joe Burrow at quarterback, and it is truly now a must-win football game. But with all that, I still think it's going to be closer than what people expect. With Andy Dalton at the helm, you see that offense. I'm going to go Bengals 24-20.
What kind of cake would you be baking while drinking pina colada?
Well, it'd be like I'm either eating a chocolate cake with vanilla icing or a vanilla cake with chocolate icing. That's all I would be baking, and it's for later. It's when when the munchies kick in and all that, right? So I'm setting it up.
So you're picking the Panthers to cover.
I am. I don't trust the Bengals defense. That's really what it comes down to.
I think that, and short week. Got to go on the road. We saw the Eagles recover from it last week, and this is it. This is nut-cutting time, as they say in Cincinnati. If they're ever going to have a chance to make it to the postseason, they need to start playing now. And we know what happens to Joe Burrow. He transforms into a higher level of superhero in those moments. It feels kind of like postseason urgency, more Joe Burrow playing well. I think we'll see it. 27-17 is my score. T. Higgins looked good in his first game back. Jamar Chase getting better and better. They need a more consistent running attack. But, yeah, defense has been the problem, and they need to pick it up, and I think they will. Rams at the Bears. I think this is the first time the Rams are going back to Chicago since that cold Sunday night when Jared Goff was the Rams quarterback in 2018. They still made it to the Super Bowl that year. This year it won't be as cold as it was. The Bears are still 3-point favorites against the Rams. You have yet to pick the Rams this year, even with the points. Will you be picking the Rams in this one?
This is an odd one. Like, I think at first look, and here's one that I'm going to say I'm going a little bit with the gut here on this a little bit. Okay? And the fact of I'm actually going to follow, I just found it curious a little bit with the Bears being favored by 3 points. Okay? And then I went, wow, they're favored by 3. They haven't looked very good. I do think their defense is going to give the Rams a tough time. Outside, in Chicago, the elements a little bit, right? I do think the Rams defense, even though it was awesome last week, it's a familiar foe in the 49ers. They kind of got in a groove late in the game, made some plays happen that way. I think you're going to see a desperate Bears football team this week. This is one of those where I don't have a lot of rhyme or reason. There's not a lot on that Bears offense. I do think Caleb Williams is getting better each week. They still need to help him a little bit. I think this is the week they might be able to lean on this smaller Rams front and run the ball to a degree. I'm going to go with the kind of off the board. I can't even play. I guess it's not an upset, but I'm going to take them in this one. I'm going to go 24-20 Chicago Bears.
You're giving me doubts about the pick that I made, but I look at this.
It's a tough one here.
The Rams had that unlikely win, and sometimes when you see emotional moment, it's just hard to recover from that, and the team falls flat the next week. There's been too many injuries for the Rams, but I feel like they're settling into this reality. And Matthew Stafford, he knows a thing or two about playing games in Chicago. He'll welcome the opportunity to go back there to where he played once every year during his time with the Lions.
Right.
The running game has been potent with Kyren Williams. And the Bears should be 0-3.
Yeah, they should be.
But for the fact that Will Levis did his best Carson Wentz impersonation
right.
week 1, they would be 0-3. And I just don't, like when we have the Bears games on, we saw them Sunday night week 2.
No, it's uninspiring.
I just don't look at anything that makes me feel good about them.
Yeah.
So I've got 23-21, Rams on a late field goal to win the game by 2 points. Roschon Johnson may be getting some looks. I don't think it's the running back. It's the blocking. All of a sudden you're going to plug somebody else in and he's going to get more than 1.5 yards per carry. No, it's the lack of blocking that's holding down the running game. You can change the running backs and it won't matter.
No,
all right.
Hey, this Bears defense, though, it's still real. That's all I want to say. And they're not as predictable as the 49ers. I think that's where it's different. And your Roschon Johnson thing, I hear you. He's just more of a sledgehammer, and I think he's got actually some better vision than DeAndre Swift. There's times where there's nothing there, and DeAndre dances too much and doesn't get yards, and you got to put your head down. So I know we got to move to next game.
Well, I mean, if the blocking sucks, you just got to hit the hole and hope for the best. All right. Baruch Woo! Vikings at the Packers. Packers favored by 3. Even though the Vikings are undefeated, Packers quarterback position, we don't know and we won't know. They'll hold the cards close to the vest because it's two very different approaches with Jordan Love and Malik Willis. As Tony Dungy said earlier on PFT Live, it's actually better for the Vikings to go against Jordan Love than Malik Willis because that defense that Brian Flores has concocted against West Coast, it keeps them confused.
Yeah.
If it's just going to be run, who cares what they're showing? We're just going to run, and we're going to run it well, and we're going to get you on your heels. So, given that the Packers are 3-point favorites, given that the Vikings are undefeated, over-under 43.5, will the Vikings upend the Packers at Lambeau Field to get to 4-0?
Well, do you think the Vikings are going to be able to stop the Packers' run? Right, the Packers have one of the most elite run teams in football right now. Right, that to me is where it is. And then you couple the Malik Willis aspect with it, and I think this is going to teach them something. Even when Jordan Love comes back, they're going to go, wait, maybe we shouldn't be so West Coasty throwing the ball. Maybe it should just be run, play action pass, deep run, another deep pass. That's the way they're playing with Malik Willis. They do that with Jordan Love. They just get a little bit more pass happy when he's in the game. And hey, I think this Packers D is real. I do, and I think they look like it's only going to get better as they continue to understand the Jeff Hafley system. So what do you think? You think your Vikings are able to stop this Packers running game?
Week 2 against the 49ers, every time they gave it to Jordan Mason, he was tearing up big chunks.
Right.
Big chunks.
Right.
Every single time. It was only when they got away from that the Vikings were able to slow down drives. Yeah. So I think the Packers will be able to run. And I don't know what I'm going to do here. I had picked the Packers, then I went to I'm staying true to my email. The email controls. I self-emailed myself, Vikings 27-23. No, look, I feel like the Vikings are getting more confident in themselves. They've got some injuries they need to overcome. But they dodged the bullet with Sam Darnold last week. Darnold has looked good. Justin Jefferson's a little banged up, but they're getting, Aaron Jones, that emotional factor of Aaron Jones coming back to Lambeau Field, that gives them a little bit of a lift. They know about playing there. They're not intimidated by it. I think the Vikings will pull this one off and get to 4-0. I'm a little nervous about it. Won't be a bet. That's how nervous I am. Best bet. But I'll say 27-23 Vikings.
Yeah, okay. All right, I hear you there. I'm going to go with the Packers here. I'm going to go 23-20 Packers. I think it's going to be a close one, definitely. I think the Packers we have to start putting them in the category of 49ers, Texans, the top teams in football. I think they're that good.
The two teams the Vikings just beat?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. I feel like it's like, but people when the Vikings were playing them are going, whoa, this will be a big litmus test if they can beat the Texans, if they can beat the 49ers. And I don't hear that this week. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Where I want to say, no, the Packers are every bit as good as the Texans, and they're every bit as good as the 49ers. This is definitely a team that could be in the NFC Championship game trying to go to the Super Bowl. So that's where I feel like Green Bay is still looking to make noise in the NFC. People are sleeping on them. I'm going with them in this one.
They're my preseason Super Bowl team.
Yeah, me too.
So I don't know. Maybe I screwed up and picked the wrong
team. I hope so.
It's too late.
So.
Hands off the checker. We move on to Jaguars at Texans. The Jaguars were embarrassed, humiliated by the Bills on Monday night, 47-10. And Chris, just one quick aside. I know we got to get through these games. I watched the entirety of the Trevor Lawrence press conference yesterday.
Yeah. What did it look like?
You would think they lost by 7, not 37.
Yeah, right.
And I know, it's good to be relaxed and chill. He doesn't seem bothered at all. He doesn't seem perturbed at all. They got a short week. They came back from Buffalo. Their flight was late getting out of Buffalo. They got to go to Houston this week. They got their asses kicked. I want to see a little more something out of my quarterback if I'm a Jaguars fan. He doesn't seem to be bothered by this. That bothers me. We'll see if it translates to success against the Texans team that's going to be feeling the urgency after getting their asses kicked in Minnesota on Sunday, 34-7. I think this is a bad spot for the Jaguars, and it could be Doug Peterson's about to get fired by Shad Khan, who says this is the best Jaguars team they've ever had. My email, and again, the email dictates my score. It's too late for me to change now. I've got the Texans winning this one 30-20, thereby covering the 6.5-point spread.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, right? I do think it's bad. The Jags are, you got your ass beat, but the team you're about to play is going to be pissed off. They're more talented, and they got their ass beat too. So it's not like you're going to catch them sleeping here at home. This is going to be a get back on track football game for Houston. Houston's D is still very good, and Jacksonville has shown no ability to crack the code of any defense. Nothing. They show nothing. It's basic West Coast bullshit, and good coordinators are all over their stuff. So, and Trevor Lawrence is he's got to burden the load a little bit more, or take on shoulder the burden more, is what I guess I'm trying to say there, and carry the team and have a feel of like, hey, it's time for me not to stand in the pocket like a robot and start making a play and try to jumpstart the football team. That's what we want to see from them. That's what we don't always see from them. I'm going 28-20 Houston.
Steelers at the Colts. Steelers are 3-0. Colts are 1-2. Steelers are favored by only 1.5 points. And the Colts kind of took it to the Steelers when they played at Lucas Oil Stadium last year.
Right.
39.5 over-under. I'll go first since they're my second favorite team. And, hey, my two favorite teams are 6-0.
Yeah, you're a hell of a year.
The Steelers really are my second favorite team. The Steelers just they've got the vibe. And they know that Murderer's Row is waiting for them week 11 through week 17 when they face the Bengals twice, the Ravens twice, the Browns twice. Although those games, 4 of those games suddenly don't look as daunting as they did pre-week 1. They got the Chiefs. They got the Eagles. They got to rack up as many wins as they can now, especially with the other teams in the division struggling. The Colts have been all over the place. Anthony Richardson is a roller coaster ride. Good and bad. It's amusing as long as you're not a Colts fan. I don't think the Steelers' defense is going to fall for any of that. I think the Steelers' defense will make it a long day for the Colts offense, bottle up Jonathan Taylor, pick off Anthony Richardson maybe twice during the game, and the offense, slow and steady, methodical, score more points than the other team. It's the only stat that matters. Points scored versus points allowed. Pittsburgh Steelers win this one and get to 4-0 by the score of 20-13, Chris.
Like, do you think the Colts are going to be able to run the ball on Pittsburgh, right? That's the only thing I worry about there, right? Where
J.K. Dobbins wasn't able to.
No, but this is a different one here. This is a very good offensive line. It's a Shane Steichen who I think is more creative running the ball than what the Chargers offense is with Greg Roman and all that. Plus, they have a quarterback that you have to worry about in the run game with an RPO game that stresses you out. Right? That's the only place I worry about with Pittsburgh. I'm taking Pittsburgh to win the football game too, but I don't feel necessarily great about it. I think the thing that I worry about overall is that running game, but at the end of the day, I don't trust Anthony Richardson to make a lot of big throws or dissect this defense, let alone I think this is a game he makes a bad turnover or two to go along with it. And the Colts defense not being that good, I think there's enough Pittsburgh offense to make it happen. I'm going to go close one here, like game-winning field goal last drive, 19-16 Steelers at home.
Steelers cover, Steelers win. We're both on the same page about that. Broncos at the Jets. The Jets are favored by 7.5 points. Did the lines makers not see the Broncos dismantle the Buccaneers? Those Sean Payton comments about Nathaniel Hackett still hovering in the ether. Different quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Broncos stayed at the Greenbrier a couple hours down the road from me here in West Virginia to remain acclimated to East Coast time. Will they stay within the 7.5 points? Could they pull the upset? Who do you have?
I don't know if they can pull the upset. I do think they can stay within the 7.5 points. I do think that the Denver defense is formidable, and the fact that this is an offense where I don't think the basic West Coast stuff of Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett is going to work as effectively as it did against the Patriots last Thursday night. I think there will be a little bit more of a game plan there as far as like not playing so vanilla and getting all over some of the stuff Rodgers likes. I do like what Denver did on offense last week. They definitely, as we talked about, with these young quarterbacks, some of these coaches, they got to stop playing it so conservative. They got to open up. They got to attack. That's what Sean Payton did last week a little bit. He finally threw some balls outside the numbers, down the field, and that put a warning shot to Tampa like, hey, you can't play all our underneath stuff in the run all day. We're going to come after you that way. way if it is like that. I'm going to take the Jets to win the football game, but I'm going to have the Broncos staying close and covering the spread. I'm going to go 27-21 here. Okay, Jets win the football game at home.
You know, I was tempted to give the Broncos the cover. I really was. But at the end of the day, I just see like a late game touchdown, stick it to Sean Payton type of a thing.
That could happen.
From Aaron Rodgers,
yeah.
24-13. Also, it's almost like the Panthers-Raiders game where the Buccaneers were the ones that stepped on the rake against Bo Nix in that offense week 3, and the Jets will be better prepared for it. The extra time to get ready, the fact that they didn't have to travel either coming back from the week 3 game or going to this one. I just think that it gives the Jets a little benefit, and they get an easy win before they go to London to face the Vikings. Eagles at the Buccaneers. Ooh. Eagles got right after that Monday night embarrassment, beat the Saints in New Orleans. They go to Tampa, where the Bucs are going to try to figure it out after losing to the Broncos. Eagles are 2.5-point road favorites with an over-under of 44. I have picked the Buccaneers to win and cover every week this season. Chris, who do you pick to win and cover in this one?
I'm taking the Eagles, and I'm taking the Eagles in both accounts there. I really am. I'm going Eagles 28-20. I think the Eagles, as you know, I think they're arguably the most talented team in the league. I do think it's coming together. We saw the defense make adjustments last week. Tampa's offense, I worry about it a little bit. It's a little reliant on the big play. We saw they didn't really move the ball that well against Detroit 2 weeks ago, but they made a few big plays. Last week, Denver took away the big plays. They couldn't move the ball worth a damn at all altogether. I do worry about that a little bit. And I think the Eagles on the offensive side of the ball got it going in every direction. Running, passing, they got it going. I'm taking Eagles 28-20.
Yeah, I've got the Eagles winning this one 21-17.
Wow.
It's a chance for them to go back and kind of rectify the ugly way last season ended 32-9.
Abandoning your Buccaneers.
Yeah, I know, but hey, you don't lose to the Broncos, right? You want me to stay on your bandwagon, don't lose to the Broncos. Maybe I got to do the reverse psychology on the Buccaneers to get them back up to the top. Hey, Bucs, you stink. Hey, Bucs, you're going to lose. Hey, Bucs, here come the Eagles. They're favored to beat you. What are you going to do about it? Although I want to be right. I still want to be right. I feel like the Eagles are just, after what they did, it impressed me what they did. Even with Nick Sirianni playing this stupid-ass analytics game and not taking field goals when he should have, they still won the game. They've got Saquon Barkley. Vita Vea's not there for the Buccaneers. Antoine Winfield might still be out this week. We got to watch the injury report. I just feel like the Eagles, like you said, they're talent-wise one of the best teams in football, and they got their wake-up call week 2, and we saw what they did with it last Sunday against the New Orleans Saints. All right, let's take a break.
I got to pick my Packers game. I have the spread right on there, right? So I gotta change that, right?
You need a different score than 23-20.
Yep.
Where are you going to go?
I'm going to take it. I'm going to just this is a tough one here. I'm going to go 23-19. 23-19, okay?
Packers
Green Bay
cover.
Packers. Yes, I'm going to
All right,
take
good.
it. I'm riding
good.
with them.
Another one on which you can be wrong. Let's take a break. When we return, the late afternoon games from Sunday, including Jim Harbaugh's first encounter with the great Patrick Mahomes. That's next on PFTPM and Chris Simms Unbuttoned. DraftKings Sportsbook is the #1 place to bet touchdowns, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and use the promo code PFTLive when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours, and please bet responsibly. Pete has now put that in the copy. Pete, you don't need to put it in the copy. I'm going to say it, whether it's in the copy, whether it's not in the copy. Even if you put in the copy, don't say please bet responsibly. I'm going to say it.
Why are you getting mad at him for agreeing with you on something that you agree on and that he's just helping you out to be your teammate?
Pete is very passive-aggressive.
What?
Pete is very passive-aggressive.
I don't think that was passive-aggressive. I think you're just asshole-aggressive there, and that's just
Oh, I'm aggressive-aggressive.
Yeah, you're
I don't deny it.
Okay.
All right.
Jerk. Good job, Pete.
Assive. You know what? I think we've come on to a new term. Not asshole-aggressive, just assive-aggressive.
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 Ass-aggressive. Ass-aggressive.
No, I like
Okay.
passive-aggressive.
Okay.
Just drop the P.
Okay. Assive. I like
Which is
it.
something
You're right.
I need to do right now, so let's get the show moving.
Let's
okay.
go.
Commanders at Cardinals. The Cardinals are favored by 3.5. Did they not watch the Monday night game? Did they not watch Jaden Daniels? Are you kidding me? I think you know where I'm leaning. Highest over under the week at 50.5. Washington and Cincinnati combined for a season high 71 points last week. You have yet to pick Washington even against the spread, and it burned you last week because the Bengals, given the points, was one of your best bets.
Yeah, I got it. It did. It burned me big time. I got burned on bet. I mean, that was just a butt whooping, and then the 49ers game of best bets. That's what killed me. I like this Arizona football team. I think they match up pretty damn well with Washington. Okay, Washington on the road, Cliff Kingsbury going back to Arizona. But I think here's the big thing to me is I think Arizona is going to be able to move the ball at will on the Washington defense. Arizona's offense is balanced. They can run the ball. We know Kyler Murray can make some plays in the pass game, right? This is not a team that's as talented as Detroit, so I like that aspect of it. I certainly do. And then I guess I just go, I have too much faith in Jonathan Gannon that he'll be able to stop the passing game of Jaden Daniels. And could Cliff Kingsbury continue to evolve as the season goes on? I've liked what I've seen so far, but I don't know if, we've said this before, and then we get to week 8 and we go, well, there's no more tricks in the bag. I'm going to go Cardinals here, 30-21.
You mentioned the Kingsbury angle, and look, here's the reality. Kingsbury knows Kyler Murray as well as any coach knows Kyler Murray. He knows Kyler Murray better than Jonathan Gannon knows Kyler Murray. And I think that gives the defense of the Washington Commanders enough of an edge to let them hang around long enough for Jaden Daniels to build on what we saw on Monday night. What we saw on Monday night did not feel like a fluke. It felt like a changing of the guard. It felt like new kid on the block. It felt like this is a guy who's arriving, for all the hand-wringing and gnashing of teeth and Tom Brady, they don't get off my lawn. They don't play young quarterback. There's a young quarterback that can play. Now, he's going to get closer to the point where they have enough film to figure out what he's doing and try to take it away. Not there yet. I think that the offense does enough. I think the Commanders can do enough. I don't like the road game Monday night, road game Arizona on Sunday. I really do think they should be more sensitive to that when teams play Monday and Sunday. At least give them a home game between one of the two. But I like the Commanders right now. I like the cut of their jib. I like them to win 28-23 over the Cardinals on Sunday. Not an easy one, but that Kingsbury angle, I think, is an important one. Because he'll just the right trick at the right time to fool Kyler Murray could be the difference in the game. Yeah,
we'll see. The Washington's very simple on defense. It's man-to-man or it's Tampa 2 or cover 3. And that's, I think, part of the reason I like Arizona is that they're a little more game plan specific. We'll see where it goes. It's going to be a fun game, though. I do expect that for sure.
Patriots at 49ers. Biggest spread of the week, 10.5 for San Francisco, 39.5 over-under. Do the 49ers get back on the right track after losing 2 in a row?
49ers, I'm worried about the psyche of the football team, losing the game the way they did last week, and the injuries to their football game added to the list. Now Javon Hargrave's not going to be able to play. That worries me. Yes. Not to the fact that I think they're going to lose the football game, but I do think that the Patriots can run the football a little bit and chew up some clock and do stuff like that to where it can make the game a little bit more uncomfortable than maybe they would like. Brock Purdy dealing with a little bit of an injury. Brandon Ayuk hasn't shown up, right? I certainly think the 49ers are the better football team here, but 10.5 points is just it's too much for me. All right, so I'm going to go 27-17. 27-17 49ers. I was going to make it closer. I'm kind of making a last-minute change here with that.
This is a get-right game for the 49ers. I got 27-10. They're going to hold them, goal line stand for that last touchdown to get a little extra confidence. And, Jordan Mason has been really good. He's second in the league in rushing behind Saquon Barkley. He was bottled up last week for 77 yards in the loss to the Rams. But Juwan Jennings has been incredible.
Yes, he has.
As long as Purdy can play, Purdy is showing that he really is an elite quarterback. I think that this is one where Purdy said before the season he wants to be dominant. This is an opportunity to dominate, and I think they will. And I will say this. Please tell your friend Kyle that if he doesn't want me to write annoying headlines, don't give me ammunition.
Why? What'd
for
you
annoying
do?
headlines.
I must have missed
because,
this.
look, he was asked about McCaffrey's status yesterday and his trip to Germany to get his Achilles examined. He said, I don't have any update. I haven't talked to him. And then he was asked, very simple question, is there a chance McCaffrey will miss the entire season? And he said, not that I know of. I mean, anything other than no in that setting is maybe, and it just sets alarms even higher. And I don't know, maybe that's his strategic objective, but not that I know of. And I made the headline for the story less annoying, but just tell him he only has himself to blame for any annoying headlines he might see at PFT.
Well, it's a tough one. And I think he's, again, his honesty sometimes is what, sets him up that way. I think he's trying to wear like, hey, I don't want to put pressure and say, oh, no, he's definitely not going to miss the year. And then he gets a call from Germany and they're like, well, damn, the specialist here says it's a little more serious and I could miss the year. So I think he's giving himself a little wiggle room there. But, from him, I'll deliver a message. Screw you, Florio. Okay, that's,
Thank you.
for me. Okay.
Thank you. Oh, he said that? Thank you. All right. Chiefs, 8-point favorites at the Chargers. And look, Justin Herbert's banged up. Derwin James is suspended.
Yeah.
Joey Bosa didn't practice.
Shocker.
3 tackles didn't practice. I going into the season, it's like, hey, Jim Harbaugh can maybe give the Chiefs fits. And the Chiefs haven't exactly been dominant. They're 8-point favorites. Is that too much for the first ever meeting between Patrick Mahomes and Jim Harbaugh?
I think it's too much. I do. The Chiefs haven't played a really good football game yet. I mean, I think that's where I look at it. Offense, again, I said this on my pod Sunday night. I said it to you Monday morning. This is a defensive football team. That's what they are. We got to stop classifying it as the Mahomes air show. They right now just play defense, run the ball, and he makes a handful of plays or throws to get them over the edge on the offensive side of the ball. This Chargers defense, I know it's banged up, right? But they're damn good, and they're creative too. And I don't think it's really hard to break down this Kansas City offense. As I've said to you, I think they need more ideas in there. I'm going close here. I think you're going close too. I'm going to have Kansas City win the football game, but I don't feel like they're going to run away with this in any aspect. I'm expecting Herbert to play and not be 100%, but good enough to play. Okay, I'm going to take Kansas City 23-20, last-second field goal to win the game.
24-22, same idea for me. And look, the Chiefs, I called them the kid that plays with their food. They're now the high school student that doesn't study for the test but still barely gets an A. And I feel like it's going to be the same thing here. It's going to feel like they could lose. Maybe they will lose. 8 points is too much to give. There's been nothing that we've seen from the Chiefs so far this year that we can point to and say, there's a team that's going to show up and win by double digits. They're going to win by the skin of their teeth week in and week out. It's going to make them better when the postseason rolls around. All right, last game in the Sunday afternoon window. The Browns is the Browns at the Raiders. The Raiders who embarrassed themselves last week, getting beat soundly by the Panthers and Andy Dalton. Can the Raiders turn it around? They're 2-point favorites with kind of a lost and confusing Browns team coming to town.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like both teams are kind of lost and confused. I mean, it seemed like there was, a consideration of benching the quarterback this week, which I wouldn't be shocked. Again, I think Aiden O'Connell can make more big throws in the pocket than Gardner Minshew. I think he's on a short leash there. And then Antonio Pierce calling his team out. I do think the Browns are more talented. I think the big question, Mike, that I get into is, can Las Vegas, does Las Vegas, well, here's the first thing. Max Crosby's health. That's where I wanted to get into. Max Crosby's health, but can the Browns move the ball consistently on this Raiders defense? What do you say there? That, to me, is one of the things I'm not really sure about. I like the Raiders defense. They laid an egg last week, but I certainly don't think the Browns are very special on that side of the ball.
I was intrigued by the comment from Deshaun Watson that he doesn't want designed runs.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because if you can't pass and Nick Chubb isn't available and you don't have a running game, the designed runs are the thing that can maybe loosen up the defense a little bit and give you the running game that you don't have. So I hope that it was just a little bit of an okey-doke from Deshaun Watson, or they're going to go to him and say, hey, look, we need you to run the ball some if you want to be able to pass effectively. I think if they incorporate him into that running game and rip off some yards that way and get the Raiders on their heels, then maybe they can be successful. But I don't believe in the Browns. I don't. I not now. And I still don't know how they managed to get a win this season. But they did. And it was in Jacksonville against a hapless Jaguars team. So I'll go ahead and give you my pick while we're in this neighborhood if I can find the score. Here's the score. Raiders win 20-14.
Yeah, I hear you. I certainly don't think you're crazy with that thought. And I am a little Deshaun Watson's got to do something to help out his football team. He ain't doing much right now. And, he can run a little bit. So I don't understand that comment either. I mean, he was pretty steadfast in the fact that he doesn't want to run the ball or do that. I know he's coming off a hurt shoulder. That's probably part of the problem, too, there. But he's got to do something to add to that offense, right? I'm a little sick of, the quarterback who runs and scrambles getting the big contract and then going, wait, I don't want to do what got me the big contract anymore. I'm kind of sick of that. I really am. I don't want to hear it anymore. So, do something to help your team. You're the biggest ripoff in the history of football right now with your contract. The whole team is screwed because of you. So help out. Change your attitude. Change everything. Even said that, I'm going the Browns because I just don't trust the Raiders, and I think the Browns are more talented. I'm going to go Browns 17-16.
By the way, you mentioned Max Crosby. He's got an ankle injury, did not practice on Wednesday. He missed some of the snaps on Sunday. He ultimately took 82%. So he was on the field a lot with that ankle, but maybe hampered by it and doing what he can to play through it, even if he's not as effective.
That's the big part of the game. Can they get to him with their front four and their pass rush? Because we saw the Giants get there a lot last week. And if Max Crosby is healthy, then you might be right in this one. It's going to be a big part of the game, protecting.
When we return, primetime games featuring the early season MVP against the two-time MVP on Sunday Night Football. That's next on PFTPM and Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
DraftKings Sportsbook is the #1 place to bet touchdowns, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and use promo code UNBUTTON when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
All right, Sunday Night Football on NBC. This was one of those where it didn't really stand out on the schedule to me until we got through a few weeks. Now it's like, holy crap, this is the game of the week. The Buffalo Bills, 3-0, #1 in the highly technical and specific and carefully calculated and vetted PFT power rankings, jumping the Chiefs. They're going to Baltimore, where the Ravens are desperate and tried to blow it again. Talk about playing with your food. They had it smeared all over them in Dallas and tried to blow that game. 28-6 became a narrow victory. Can the Ravens get to 2-2? Can Baltimore put the first L of the season on the Buffalo Bills and your boy Blue Josh Allen?
I think they can. I think there's two things I like about the Ravens, right? I think the Ravens are crazy if they don't continue to play the way they did last week. Run the ball. Right? They had a lot of run plays that kind of looked the same, that are different, or that, were different, but they look the same, whatever way you want to say it. And all the sexy big plays in the pass game and all that will come if they continue to do that right there. And I think it's one spot of their team they have a clear advantage on against a lot of football teams. This Bills team, they're good. There's no doubt. They're a little bit more physical than in the past. But we've seen that you can run the ball on them. We saw Arizona and Miami run the ball on Buffalo. I think Baltimore will be able to do that, let alone it is still Lamar Jackson throwing the football. I think the other side of that, too, is you're not going to run the ball on Baltimore. That's not going to happen. I don't think the Bills will be able to run on them that successfully. And I think taking that little element out of their game plan, I'm not sold their passing game can just live on its own yet. Not with some of these, the formula of the tight end and the young receiver and all that. So I'm going to go 28-24. Ravens get the win at home. A little more desperate of a team here.
23-20 Baltimore, and you're right. It's a tough environment, night game. Ravens salty after the win on Sunday. Lamar Jackson was being recorded by Marlon Humphrey, and he's like, hey, we shouldn't be on Instagram Live right now. I mean, there was nothing to celebrate. They almost blew it, and that's what they need to learn. Get the lead, hold the lead, don't blow it late, and I think that they are, and they'll know by then that the Steelers have won. If you and I are right about that, all the more reason for the Ravens to not blow it week 4 at home against the Bills. Monday Night Football, simultaneous overlapping doubleheader, something that not a whole lot of people like. but they're still going to force it down our throats. That's okay. Football is family. Titans at Dolphins. Dolphins are 1-point favorites. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Is it going to be Skylar Thompson? Is it going to be Tyler Huntley? We don't know, but we do know this. Will Levis continues to be Carson Wentz. Can the Dolphins get back on the right track against the Tennessee Titans?
I mean, this is a game where you look at and you go, man, you'd like to think the Tennessee Titans could maybe steal a game here, do something like that. I mean, the team last week, Miami, I mean, they really didn't put up much of a fight. They kind of hung in there for a little while, but you never got the sense that, like, oh, wow, they might be able to pull this off or anything like that. I think my biggest concern here is Tennessee's run defense. I think that's what I worry about. We saw the Jets make plays in the run game. We saw Green Bay running them at will. And this is still a Dolphins team that's got some speed in the backfield. And, of course, still some weapons at receiver. And they're going to tinker with their formula with whoever's playing quarterback this week. I mean, Tennessee started off looking good, but you're right. I don't trust Will Levis. Their run game was nowhere to be seen last week. I just don't know what to expect them. I don't think I could sleep if I just picked Tennessee to win the football game. I think it's a low-scoring game. I think they hang around a little bit here, right? But I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins 20-17 in this one.
Yeah, look, I feel like this is a game that if the Dolphins can't win it, how many games are they going to win this year? Will it even matter when Tua's ready to go again? This is a critical game for the Dolphins. The running game, I think, is going to be extra important. And I think they should just go with Tyler Huntley. He's been there a couple of weeks by the time we get to Monday night, almost 2 full weeks. He's got experience playing. Skylar Thompson's banged up. I think that they should roll the dice there. Keep it quiet. Keep the Titans guessing. Go with Tyler Huntley. Maybe, get the ball in, whatever it takes, get the ball in Tyreek Hill's hands, let him do his thing. I think the Dolphins can and will pull this off. I don't have a lot of faith in them big picture, but I got faith in them for Monday night. 26-17, the Dolphins get the victory. All right, let's move on to the nightcap. And this could be a great game. It was high scoring, down to the wire last year when these two teams got together in Detroit in week 2. Seahawks at the Lions. You have picked the Seahawks and the Lions to win every week this season, so something's got to give. Which one gives here for you? Who are you picking to lose? Who are you picking to win?
I'm going to take the Lions. I'm not totally a believer in the Seahawks yet. They've had the most favorable schedule, I think, in all of football. I mean, you got week 1, Bo Nix on the road, playing his first game ever in Seattle. You got Jacoby Brissett and a Patriots offense that's not very good. And then last week they got the Tua-less Dolphins up there. So that's where I'm not going to totally buy in. I like what I see. I definitely do. There's no doubt about that. But I think the Lions got back on track last week. As far as at least they got back to their running game and played a run-first type of attitude. Their defense looked really good, right? I do think Seattle is scary on offense. They've shown the propensity to run the ball a little bit this year, and we know with those guys outside at receiver, they're real. But Detroit's got a lot of big people to stop the run, and they're definitely better in the secondary. So with all of that, I'm going 31-24 Lions in this one.
Yeah, look, I foolishly picked against the Lions last week. I think that the Seahawks are largely unproven, even though they're 3-0. You look at the teams they've beaten, there really isn't a juggernaut that stands out there. This is a tough spot. Primetime, Detroit, loud, an opportunity to avenge an early season loss from last year, 29-21. I think the Lions pull off the victory and get themselves to, what would they be, 3-1, right? They lost a game. They lost in week 2. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Right.
I've already forgotten.
Yep,
3-1 is what they would be. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, best bets, and we may have to abandon or rename Folsom Prison Blues because the whole premise is you're dying in a gutter. We're dead in the gutter. We suck at Folsom Prison Blues this week. Do the opposite of what we suggest for Folsom Prison Blues. That's next here on PFT.
I'm really dead. I'm Billy Bats in the trunk. I'm in the trunk.
Welcome back to the PFTPM Chris Simms Unbuttoned Picks podcast, delivered by Little Caesars, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
Pizza.
All right, let's do our best bets. 5 disagreements straight up, 7 against the spread. Best bets time. I beat you last week. Thank you, Rams. Thank you, Commanders. Who do you got this week?
Well, I'm going the Eagles as my first one, right? I'm a believer in the Eagles. You know that. I think they found something last week on both sides of the football. Tampa, I know, is good, right? I'm just not sure how good. And I do think their offense concerns me, as I said during the breakdown a little bit. Too little bit reliant on the big play. I don't think they're going to get that against this Eagles team. Yeah, I like them. What did I say? 28-20. So I got them covering the spread pretty easily.
Jaguars seem to be unbothered by the fact that they got their asses kicked in Buffalo. Texans are going to be more bothered by the fact that they got their asses kicked in Minnesota. They're playing in Houston. Doug Peterson is on not flying home with the team for reasons other than Urban Meyer watch. I like the Texans to cover the 6.5-point spread.
Yeah, I hear you there. I thought about that one. I guess it's the Jaguars' desperation, I think, that scared me a little bit, but I certainly understand your logic. I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals as my second one. The Arizona Cardinals, I just look at it and go, I think they might be the best 1-2 football team in the game right now. I'm not totally sold on the Commanders, who are a team that, could very easily be 1-2 for sure. And I just think Arizona's got a complete football team. I got them winning the game by 9 points and easily covering that 3.5-point spread.
All right, the Bengals are incredibly desperate, 0-3. It feels like postseason urgency. That's when Joe Burrow finds a higher level. Again, they're lucky that Bryce Young got benched last week. They won't walk into this one thinking all they have to do is show up. It's enough to get the Bengals to cover the 4.5-point spread.
Yeah, it's I hear you there. I mean, I hear you. I'd want to do it. I got burned by the Bengals last week. I'm scared of that defense, so I have a scar on me that I still can't get rid of. All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to do something you don't like, but it's really, I don't believe in a whole lot this week as far as my best bets.
Thank you
all
for
right?
ruining the re-air.
All right. Well,
sorry.
They should.
We'll have to edit this out.
I'll
play
listen.
my recorder
right.
in place of your best
I
bet.
don't think it'll really ruin the show.
Hopefully you'll be wrong.
Right.
Hopefully you'll be wrong.
Right.
That'll make it even better.
I'm taking the G-Man. The 6 points is just too much for me. Yeah, I'm going to take the Giants to win outright, but even if the Cowboys win, I don't think it'll be by more than 6. I'm taking the G-Men, baby. I do think they match up pretty well with this Dallas football team.
All right, last one for me. I like Kirk Cousins. I think the Falcons know they need this one. The Falcons can't lose 2 in a row after that great win that elevated the franchise on that Week 2 Monday night against the Eagles. 24-20 is my pick. Maybe it'll be a little worse than that. I don't know. It might be close to them not covering, but I think if they're going to win, they're going to win by more than 2.5 points, and I think they're going to win. It's that simple. All right, Folsom Prison Blues, dying in a gutter, 1 game to pick straight up. Can you save yourself this time, Mr. 0-3 Chris Simms?
I mean, I'm going to take the 49ers. I almost don't want to because I'm the kiss of death here, and I don't want to ruin my friend's life here, but I'm going to take the 49ers that they will definitely win against the Patriots.
All right, I'm gonna ride with the Texans. I was gonna go 49ers, but you scared me off.
I thought this was.
I'll go with the Texans to beat the Jaguars.
Woo! Tough week to
Sunday.
pick best bets this one.
Thanks for some of your time. Enjoy the games this weekend.
I will. I'm gonna have fun tonight.
I'll see you
Screw
next time.
you, Florio. I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Yo, homies, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.